Hi there, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero Weekly Roundtable. As usual, with me, your host, Simon Conboy. We've also got Arnie.
Hi, guys.
And we're once again joined by Dan.
What's up?
So, pretty busy week. I think that's safe to say. Had a lot go on. Is there anything anyone wants to bring up as like their major talking point for the week? Anything that's jumped out of them?
I think we'll start with just in general the Browns. They put 3 people on the trade block. Later, then cut Joe Hayden.
Yeah.
One of those on the trade block. They've just traded Cameron Irvin, the tackle.
Well, he's played every position on the O-line and he's done every single one of them badly.
Yeah, but he's been traded today. Can't remember off the top of my head who the other guy was. But yeah, there's a lot of activity in the trade mill going on.
Yeah, I've been surprised just by the general amount of activity at this point in the season. Normally the rosters are pretty much set. I mean, we've seen the Bills, similarly, they just appeared set to tank this season. It's must be disappointing for Bills fans. Looks like they'll be looking for a new QB next year, you'd have to think. I've got to say, surely LaShawn McCoy must be a name teams should be looking at and thinking, yeah, if you need a good running back, you're on the cusp of competing, he could be an option.
I would say so. I wouldn't say maybe this year. I'd say they'd hang on to him for this year, maybe try and build that stock. And then I think going into the off-season next year, I think that's when they're looking at it. Similar to the DeMarco Murray when he got traded.
The issue, I think, is, though, with Shady's age, each season at this point, his value diminishes.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there. The Browns Cam Irvin, they just had to get rid of. They've tried everything. It's not working for him there. We'll stick with the Joe Hayden thing. So, obviously, he's a cap casualty, essentially. You know, he signed that massive contract, not been able to stay healthy, not played well as a result. It makes sense. I'm not surprised no one would trade for him considering that contract. But what do we think some of the likely landing spots?
What I've heard, I've seen the Steelers, the Colts, and New Orleans have been the top runners to get him. New Orleans, I think, is the likely landing spot for him just because they need help in the secondary. The Cowboys could be a viable option as well, given the fact of, again, their woes at secondary is quite bad. But I think it will be one of those.
Ferocious on paper.
Yeah.
You, Dan, anyone you think could be interested in a good corner?
Well, obviously cap room dependent, but I would have thought maybe Tennessee would show some interest, considering I don't know what that is, but it's not a secondary down in Tennessee.
Nah, we'll call it a tertiary for now.
It would make sense for Tennessee, but I don't think we're going to be pulling the trigger on any more moves for the off season. I think we're done making moves.
I just don't know what his financial value is. You know, being one of the higher paid corners in the league. Obviously, he's had his injury problems. His play on the field's not been particularly good the last 2-3 years. Do you pay him like a number one corner? Because that seems like a massive risk, especially with the money number one corner these days.
No, God, no. This is going to be one of those tests of what does the player love more, the money or the game? He's not going to be paid top corner money. He's going to pay peanuts at best.
Well, I think he's one of those players. He's going to get a 1-year deal, I suspect, with somebody like one of them prove it type deals. But I mean if you're,
I wouldn't say no to him down in Arizona because he'd be a viable player to play opposite Peterson. And
they do need one.
Yeah, we severely need one. But it just comes down to what money him and his agent are going to be looking for. I wouldn't be surprised considering some of the troubles he's had if he ends up in New England. New England do love their...
They've just got no need for a corner, though. They've got
After signing Stephen Gilmore, there's no need there for a corner.
True. I think Tennessee should make a bid for him. You guys got all the cap room in the world, same as the Bucks. You could both legitimately make a prove it deal with him, pay him peanuts. What have you got to lose?
The Bucks, I feel we've got a need at corner, but by all accounts, the actual front office are very happy with the guys they've got. Hargraves has apparently looked really good this training camp. Played well in the preseason, 2 interceptions so far. I mean, it's only pre-season. Yeah, he's a first rounder. Brent Grimes was stellar last year. There's a need there, but apparently they're happy with some of the young guys. They think they're going to surprise some people this year. So the Bucks won't be interested.
Okay. Well,
I think the same goes with Tennessee as well. I think obviously we've got a lot of young guys there. I think the guys want them to develop into a unit, even if that does mean taking a hit. I think with the offensive weapons that we brought in this year, I think we're looking to be able to defeat opponents that way. And we're going to be a blitz first team and put the pressure on the quarterback. So
I could see happening that might surprise people. This would be sort of a twofer of moves. The Dolphins, because I've heard word they're considering cutting Byron Maxwell, and that's partly because his contract is silly.
Yeah.
So I think they could possibly sign Hayden as a replacement. You know, Hayden went to college in the state. I think that could be a thing, especially if they were to cut Maxwell. They need to bring in somebody because they have not got much at that position, even with Maxwell on the roster. So yeah. I think that could be a surprise option. Realistically, though, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Raiders go after him.
I think the Raiders are one of the teams in the mill for him as well.
Yeah, the Raiders are one of those teams. They're expected to be very good this year. The secondary does look like it could be a problem for them. It's a tough one. There's so many teams that need a corner. He could end up just about anywhere.
Yeah.
But Dan, anything jumped out to you this last week?
Well, a couple of news bits. Obviously, we'll get onto some of the preseason games later. Obviously, there's Stafford being paid the record contract.
Yeah, I mean that's an easy one.
Yeah, but you know, it's not also not surprising for the Lions. He is basically the only player on that team within reason.
I mean, they've got some good linemen. Other than that, yeah, that is a team that looks really bad without him. And I think I've said before, last year he was great.
Yeah, Stafford has done wonders for that team. So.
Oh yeah,
it's a contract well deserved.
Yeah, and obviously there's also the madness that Buffalo is going through at the moment, just trading all and sundry on that roster.
Yeah, I got to say the Reggie Ragland trade. I think the Chiefs got a great deal there. I liked Ragland coming out of college. He's a thumper. Probably doesn't fit what they're doing, but you know the Chiefs needed a linebacker badly. Derek Johnson's like 1,000,000 years old and coming off another major injury, and the other guys they've got are just guys. Getting a second round pick. All right, he's not played it down because he tore his ACL. For a 4th rounder in 2019, I mean that's a great deal.
It is a great deal. It does seem like Buffalo are kind of.
Oh, they absolutely are.
They're farming everything now.
Anything that Rex Ryan did is just like been eradicated.
Oh yeah, right from the bottom, and it does leave to question of how long is Tyrod going to last in that offense and on that team.
I think he's done. I think the way they've trading away Watkins. Ronald Darby was a surprise to me because he's got so much potential, and losing Gilmore just means you're starting again in the secondary. Watkins, of course, really talented. They now look really thin at receiver. It just says to me we're a team that is looking to rebuild, and if you're looking to rebuild, that means a new quarterback.
Yeah.
You don't. If you think Tyrod Taylor is good enough, then frankly, if you believed in Taylor enough, that team was good enough around him, I think, to make a playoff push with the guys that they've got rid of there. So they're clearly just burning it down. The Jets were like, we're going to tank for that number 1 pick. The Bills have said, we'll see about that, it would appear.
Yeah.
Assuming the number one pick does turn out to be Sam Darnold, I'm assuming Sam Darnold will land in that division.
Next year is considered a very good quarterback class at this point.
Yeah.
Also, there's the other.
Been a while since one of those.
Also, there's the other. I'm not sure if it's major news, but it is news since our last podcast. Is the Edelman injury, which I think is a massive,
that's big news.
That's
massive
big news.
blow to the Patriots' offense. At
There's
this point.
There's been a couple of those injuries this week. I mean, you've got Edelman out for the year now.
That gruesome Cameron Meredith injury.
Yeah, Cameron Meredith against our guys. That was a gruesome injury. That really hurts the Bears
when they won't show it on TV.
Oh yeah. I mean, I kind of saw it in live action, but it was kind of bad. That's a big blow for the Bears. But
he was their only legit.
He's their number one. Yeah.
But Kevin White's been terrible since he was drafted. He's shown nothing.
Well, it's going to have to be Kevin White or Kendall Wright now to step up in that role.
A pair of them. One of them is going to have to step up.
I mean, with the Patriots, I don't see the Edelman injury for the Patriots being a big deal. Not for them. Because with Tom Brady at the helm, I think...
It hurts. He's still their main guy. He's the guy Brady trusts the most and looks for when things are rough.
I mean, the problem you've got, though, if you're looking at the Patriots for Tom Brady, is obviously he's done extremely well when Gronk's gone down, but Edelman's picked up the slack. Now, if the inevitable happens this year and Gronk goes down yet again, that's where, especially going into postseason, he's down two of the most potent weapons on that offense. I think
they've got Brandon Cooks there now. So as long as Brandon Cooks performs...
the thing for me, though, Cooks isn't a high-volume target like Edelman is.
I mean, Chris Hogan will probably be the one that step up into the Edelman role.
Who's going to step into that role?
Yeah.
He'll do that same thing, but it's just to play that role in the Pats offense, it's like with Wes Welker when he was there before and made that role famous. The level of chemistry and understanding between Brady and whoever's playing that role has to be huge, because it's basically option routes. That's what Edelman has most of the game is you've got these options, pick the right one. He does. Brady and him just have that psychic ability between them. And we saw in that preseason game after Edelman got hurt, they tried one of those option routes and Hogan went the wrong way and Brady threw a pick.
Yeah. It will be a blow to them, but given the stature of quarterback that they have there, I think they'll just be fine.
Yeah, their receiver core is great. I do agree with what Dan said. If Gronk goes down, we could see a drop off.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at arguably the best slot receiver in the game, and then losing the best tight end. That's going to hurt you, no matter how good your receiving core is. Yeah. But that's certainly a big injury. I'm sure many Pats fans crying into their beer.
Hey, man, I was sad. I'm not even a Pats fan. I'm a Tom Brady fan. But no, I was shocked by that as well. Because Edelman's just really, really, really good, and he's awesome to watch.
It's that saddest type as well, where it was a non-contact injury. He just goes to make a cut, and his knee just is like, no, I'm not having none of this.
Yeah.
Not a lot you can do about those. I said, actually, there is one thing I just want to go back to the Joe Hayden thing quickly, because me and Arnie were talking about this earlier. The Colts are apparently interested.
I was actually about to say, I just read something, the Steelers are interested as well.
Yeah.
The Colts would be really interesting, because if him and Vontae Davis are both healthy, and then
that's a really good
Malik Hooker, the rookie, and Robert Gaver's their other safety, who's going to miss the first couple of weeks, but he's a really good player as well. That could actually end up being one of the best secondaries in the league. I mean, they got nothing else on that defensive unit, but that on paper would look pretty good.
God knows they've got the cap for them as well. It's not like they've got any players they're paying money to, really.
Andrew likes on a silly contract.
But the thing is, though, if you're Joe Hayden, you're looking at it, you got offers from both the Colts and the Steelers. You're going to go with the Steelers, though, because, you know, they're the perennial champions. They're almost every year, that division. They always make
Yeah,
the postseason.
especially looking at it this year, maybe the Bengals, if things fall the Bengals' way and their O-line plays well, I think they've got the pieces to potentially be a threat to this to make the playoff. I can't see the Ravens or the Browns though. Like the Steelers look like they've got a pretty cushy route to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, pretty much. They're basically just going to walk into the playoffs, judging by it. And even if the Bengals make it to the playoffs, makes no odds, they're going to lose anyway.
that is the way it's been for a long time now. So we'll move on to one of the big, I guess, topics. All the quarterback battles have been decided. You know, all 32 teams, barring something bizarre happening, are going to be starting in week 1.
Are we going to start with the I can't believe why you starting him? What are you doing, you madman?
No, we're not going to start with that one. We're going to start with the I was right one, which we discussed a little last week. But Trevor Siemian. First off, do we all think the Broncos got this one right?
Yeah, there was no question. I don't think there should have been a quarterback battle to begin with.
Fair enough. Dan?
Yeah, no, I agree. To be honest, I reckon the Broncos were just talking out their asses, to be honest, with the whole quarterback battle thing. He was getting the starting job no matter what.
I don't know if that's the case. I mean, Paxton Lynch-Belmont, he was a first rounder last year that they traded up for. But he absolutely does not look ready to play in an NFL game.
I mean, coming into the league, we know just from his college tape, he was raw. He was a very raw prospect.
It was like, this is a guy who's big, can throw the ball really far, and can run about a bit. He's no doubt in the physical talent, but everything looks too fast for him. His mechanics are still sloppy. Siemian is fine. We all know I'm one of the biggest Siemian advocates probably in the world. I think he's a perfectly fine quarterback. I mean, I was listening to one of the Around the League podcast, and I think one of the guys on there is with me on this. Like, he's big. Because, I mean, if you think, he's been in the league, 2 years? He was a 7th rounder. And if he was like a first or second rounder, people were like not doubting this guy at all. Yeah. So I thought he played admirably last year behind one of the worst offensive lines in the league with a non-existent run game.
Yeah. He did a good job around his surroundings.
Mm. And they've not much depth at receiver either. They got Sanders and Thomas are great, but what else have they got?
Although moving on from Broncos QBs or ex-Broncos QBs, looks like Osweiler's doomed to forever hold a clipboard.
He could easily end up out of the league shortly, frankly.
He should be.
He looked forward again.
Speaking on the Browns trades, I'm pretty sure that was the other guy they were looking to shop actually.
Oh yeah.
Brock Osweiler.
Yeah. They've been looking to shop Brock since they picked him up. To be honest, like
they could have, even with the cap room, they could have easily cut him, and that could still be a possibility.
They do, yeah. That's still a possibility for sure.
Well, I reckon what the Browns did. I mean, DeShone Kizer looked quite sharp actually, so I'll give him credit.
It's the right decision.
Definitely. It was good fun watching him. But I reckon what the Browns did.
I was saying in the build-up to the draft that if I had my pick of the rookie quarterbacks or the quarterbacks coming out, Kizer was for me the one I'd feel best about because he looks the most like a pro quarterback when you watch his college tape. You know, he's got the size. He's definitely got the arm. We've seen that in preseason. He's got an arm, and he's not playing on the most talented of teams, but I think he's looked very serviceable. And this team's got all the picks again next year. They probably aren't going to be great. Figure out what you've got. Figure out if it's worth sticking with him.
Yeah.
Well, they can't be worse.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, I reckon with the Osweiler thing, I think they picked him up. Hope did show a little something.
They got a second-round pick out of it. That's all that was. We get a free second-round pick.
Yeah.
Eat 60 million, get a second rounder.
Yeah, but with Osweiler, I reckon they were hoping he would show at least some spark in pre-season, and then they'd ship him off. But he's basically done nothing, and he turns out to be the most overpaid paperweight in the league. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, it won't be. I very much doubt he'll be in the league next year.
I think it was clear to me that Kaiser was going to get this job when Kessler wasn't really given a crack at it.
Yeah.
Because I've been a defender of Kessler. I thought he showed some things last year. I agree with starting.
Good last year.
Kaiser's got upside. Kessler's very limited. You're looking at Alex Smith, Andy Dalton at best with a guy like Kessler. But the fact that they didn't even give him a shot said to me they're going to go with Kaiser unless Brock Osweiler really, really tears it down.
Here's a question. Between Brock Osweiler, Jamarcus Russell and Clipboard Jesus, who would you give the starting role to on the team?
I don't know, Clipboard Jesus, he might be alright.
Yeah, I'd give it
no one really knows. No one knows if Charlie Whitehurst is good at football.
He's not, believe me, he is not good at football. I had to endure him already. He is not good at football.
Are we talking about playing at quarterback though? Because I'm pretty sure you could probably put Jamarcus Russell at defensive tackle right now.
Yes, actually.
Future All-Pro nose tackle, Jamarcus Russell. That would be grand. So we're all in agreement. Kaiser again. Browns got. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Browns, they got it right.
Oh no! Yeah. Don't go jinxing it, man. It's just the preseason. Come on now.
Remember, there was an eclipse last week. Like it's all crazy.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, man. I mean, week one, they could turn up, and all those amazing draft players they've got all suddenly suffer snapped fibulas, and just like Garrett.
I do want to just say one thing with the Browns. Myles Garrett has looked really good. I know it's only preseason, but dang,
it's also kind of what was expected. It's like similar to when Sue came out, he just looked good from the start. I reckon he's just going to be really good from this point onwards. I don't see him going downhill.
He will have a Joey Bosa type year. I think as you said earlier, yeah.
From him, yeah. I mean, really, Bosa's kind of, as far as defensive go, that's kind of the bar. Be a Pro Bowl guy.
Although we did get one of Arnie's preferred picks in the draft sightings with Jabril Peppers picking your boy off.
Yeah. I'm not going to read too much into that. But moving on to, I suppose, one that might have a bit more of a debate to it, the Bears going with Glennon over Trubisky. And Trubisky's been, one of the preseason favourites for many people. He's looked a lot better than people expected.
Oh, actually, funnily enough,
do we think they got this one?
Actually, I've got it written right here on my notes for watching the games. I've actually got Trubisky looked worthy of being picked second overall. So I'm going to say they should have gone with Trubisky. They traded silly amount to get him, and now they've just kind of flushed it down the toilet. It's like, nah.
You're not with him.
I disagree. I think Glennon was the one to get the starting job because Trubisky, I think, needed to sit behind for a year. The Bears know they're not making the postseason this year. They know that.
Glennon knows.
So it's the learning. It's spending that year training and learning. Yeah, it's behind Glennon, but
learning what? This is how
it's similar. It's similar to what the Rams did with Jared Goff last year. Granted, I think Goff should have sat the whole year, but they weren't in exactly the right position to be doing that. I just think that taking that year to do that, you extend your knowledge of the game so much more, and then next year he's going to come in and be the right quarterback, the quarterback that they need.
No. I disagree. If he was sat behind
a reason.
No, sorry. If it was like Aaron Rodgers and he was sat behind, someone like Brett Favre or I don't know, say Andrew Luck or something, I'd agree with you. He sat behind Mike bloody Glennon. What realistically Glennon's basically a career backup as it is. What is going on here?
Well, I'm inclined to agree with Arnie on this, and my argument is a simple one. Their first 5 games, and you could argue their 6th game, are brutal. And I don't know if I want to put him out there for those games. So you would be throwing Trubisky up against the Falcons in week 1, the Buccaneers in week 2, then the Steelers, then the Packers, and then the Vikings. and then the Ravens' defence in week 6.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
With nothing at wide receiver, I don't think that's a great idea.
But that's the thing. You put him as that backup spot because he's going to learn these. He's going to learn what these defenses are showing over the course of. Even if it is Glennon playing against him, he's going to learn from the game tape how these defenses are showing. Then going into that next year, he's going to have that experience. He knows what defenses are showing. He knows how to change the protections, audible from what the defenses are showing. I think it's just the better idea for them right now.
I think they've got it right for now because they've got the perfect bye week. They've got the week 9 byes. They'll have played half of the season, see how it goes. If it's gone terribly, you've got the second half of the season, see how it's going. I just think that I would have been edging towards starting Trubisky just for the hell of it, but they're bad at the offensive tackle spot, they're bad at receiver, and those first few games are really rough, and I wouldn't want the guy getting his development.
So what we're saying
ruined.
Is they're going to go with the Rams strategy, basically bench him until it turns out your season's gone to poo anyway, and then play.
Well, I mean, I was higher on the Bears than most, but I look at that offense now with Meredith on them. I just don't see how they're going to get enough points. And the defense should be okay. I don't think they're a team that's ready to compete this year. And as I say, that starting schedule is just. I mean, now that you've heard that starting schedule, Dan, would you put him in against those teams?
I basically mortgaged my entire draft picking future on this guy. Yes.
But then, do you mortgage his future and get him like David Card?
He won't get David Card. It will be a learning experience. There you go. Being brutally beaten up for 60 minutes for the first 6 games. It's a learning.
He can learn on the bench.
No.
He can learn on game tape.
No,
I think you preserve the kid. You gave Glennon all that money. At least get some money. Like some.
Oh well, I suppose when you've given Glennon that money. I mean, to be honest, then in that case, then was him being the starter not a foregone conclusion? They already gave him a poo load of money.
Well, they didn't know they were going to get Trubisky, so they had to have something. Imagine if the Niners decided Trubisky was their guy and just stayed pat during the draft.
You forget as well, in Chicago, they had to have a quarterback battle. You think of their quarterbacks from last year to this year, there is not one of those quarterbacks on the roster from last year, not one of them on this year's roster. Their quarterback position from 1 till 3 is completely different. They had to have the battle to see who would get that starting job.
To be honest.
So we're divided on this one then.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, ideally, because of the way the Bears are already set up anyway, I mean, let's face it, they're not winning many games this year. They're basically fishing for a top 5 pick next year. Is what I would have done is I would have started Trubisky week 1, just so if he gets hot, then I would have kept playing him. I mean, he's your draft pick. You picked him, and then I would have run Glennon in at some point if he started to taper off. That would have been.
He'd taper off. It's a rookie. They all taper off.
Yeah, but I would at least given him the chance to at least start the season and get hot. But that's just the way I probably would have approached it.
For me, after the bye, that's when you plug him in.
Well, yeah,
I think that's
because it's a week 9 bye and they'll already be 0-8, so they've got nothing to lose at that point.
I don't know. I think they're a bit better than that.
Oh, sorry.
1-7. Well, the QB back. Oh, we've got your favourite one, the Texans. Tom Savage getting the start over Deshaun Watson.
Wait, what?
Everyone in agreement here? Tom Savage for the Texans over Deshaun Watson.
I wasn't aware of this change. I thought.
You thought Watson was going in as a starter?
I thought Watson was already the starter. I didn't actually know the Texans were in the middle.
That's been a true battle since he was drafted. They said it would be a battle. They
made the right decision. Watson's not ready. It's clear from the pre-season games he is not ready.
I'm not going to disagree with that. He probably
his mechanics aren't there. The offensive line is a mess. The receivers aren't great.
Savage will keep them in games. He's not going to.
He's better than I expected.
Yeah, he's not going to do miracles for them. He's a very subpar quarterback, but he will keep them in games and keep the defense have rested enough. Their superstar elite defense. They'll be just fine.
Basically, what we're saying is Tom Savage will be able to get them to the 30 mark to kick a field goal.
Essentially,
so
yeah.
The Texans' game plan is get to the 30, kick a field goal.
It was last year.
You forget they faced the Tennessee secondary twice a year.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And I believe that's all of them. So that was the easiest one.
We got one left.
We have got one left. The awful one.
We do?
That we didn't bother talking about yet because it's so awful.
Yes.
When it's awful.
Yeah. The one I mentioned earlier was kind of won by default, the Jets.
Yeah.
So McCown is starting to the surprise of no one.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to say, I thought I'd see a bit more out of Christian Hackenberg. I mean, my goodness.
Well, if Bryce Petty didn't get injured, I would have said Bryce Petty. Because he's looked okay.
But you've got to bear in mind, McCown in the last few years guarantees you that number one pick. And that's clearly what...
This is true.
He got us that. He got us Jameis.
Yeah.
Who was it? He's the reason the Browns got Myles Garrett. There's another team. He got the number one pick.
He's an automatic first round pick, isn't he?
He is the number one pick on a stick, yeah.
Oh my god.
There's another team. It's bugging me that I can't think who it is.
I can't remember the other team.
Dang it.
But when I said the awful QB battle, I didn't mean the Jets. I meant the Jags.
Oh yes,
What?
The other one.
How? Just
those teams are so bad. It's easy to forget things.
Yeah, this is true. But what is wrong with that GM? I mean, why?
Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, we'll start with the thing. So Bortles is starting. Did they get it right?
God no.
Yeah.
Arnie?
No. Let's get something straight. Arnie's biased here because he says Bortles is the right pick because he's facing them twice a year and he'll still lose one.
You're a Jags fan, Arnie. Did they get it right?
Yeah. I genuinely believe they got it right.
Really?
I like Blake Bortles. He's bad.
He throws picks to my poo secondary. I like the cut of his jib.
I wouldn't put my season on Chad Henne though.
No, I'd go with that rookie guy they had. They've got, I can't even remember the guy's name, but he's looked better than both of them. Like Bortles is just saying, right, we're happy to go 5-11 again.
Yeah,
that's what it says to me.
Yeah, Bortles is just we're gonna go fishing for a top 10 draft pick next year.
The talent's there. He just looks done to me. He just looks absolutely ineffective.
Well, I think they're going to give him this year to the last year to kind of prove it, and I think that's why they started him. To be honest, I think sitting him behind the bench is not giving him that chance to earn the job properly.
That's the exact same line they said last year, and the year before that. Oh, we're going to give.
No, that was promised because the year before last he threw a ton of interceptions and fumbled a lot, but he was really productive.
Okay, fine. I think this is just the case of they've got into bed with the wrong QB and they can't admit they done goofed. Because they said this last year.
The mistake was not getting him legitimate competition this off-season.
Well, there wasn't a lot of QBs on the market, though, were there?
They could have went after Jay Cutler.
Really?
They could have. I mean, hell, at this point, maybe even Kaepernick's a better option.
I think Kaepernick I did hear in the pipeline at some point, but any team with
apparently the coaches aren't interested.
No, any team with quarterback issues, I've heard a rumor mill of Kaepernick's name in there.
I mean, there's a lot of teams that could do with Kaepernick right now. I mean, we've all seen the state of the Ravens and the Colts backups, right?
Well, here's the thing though. I mean, the issue people have got with Kaepernick is he brings like media attention. But if you're playing in somewhere like Jacksonville, like where they don't get a lot anyway, why not sign him anyway? You get more media attention for your football club. Job done. You don't need to play.
Just to bring this up, I just want to kind of make you guys aware of the potential Week 1 starting quarterbacks in the AFC South right now. Tolson.
Yeah.
Bortles,
Late Bortles,
Savage, and Mariota. it makes Mariota look like an elite quarterback in that division right now.
He looks like the spawn of Joe Montana and Tom Brady compared to those guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's just all levels of bad right now.
Yeah. Yeah. If it goes like for a month for those guys starting for those teams and the Titans do not make the playoffs, they should just quit.
Yeah.
Just quit. Become the Oilers again.
Yeah, just move the team again. I mean, you can't go back.
Like, just give up. It's done.
Yeah, I mean, the UK is looking for a football team, so they could be the London Titans at that point. If you lose to those quarterbacks.
Oh no, the Jags are going to be here before we will.
Yeah, it could well be true. Here's another one. Now that we're done with that, did you guys hear about Jarvis Landry being shopped?
Sorry, being what?
Shopped
on the trade market.
I thought you said shot
Yep.
for some reason.
Yeah, someone shot him. But, he's apparently available, and as you know, our resident Dolphins fan Lee, I think he had the perfect suggestion for a team that should be interested. In fact, I already told you this, Dan. If you can guess that team.
What, for Jarvis Landry?
Yeah, one team that would be perfect for him, and I can't agree more.
Matt Loss. I can't really think of the team.
They're playing in the season opener.
What? Okay, not the Pats.
And they're not the Patriots.
I don't know who the Pats are playing. One I've forgotten.
The Chiefs.
Oh, that actually would. Yeah, that would actually be a good place for him to land, actually.
Would be perfect. They need a receiver. All they've got is Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And and you think about what Jarvis Landry does well: run after the catch, screen plays, short dinky dunk stuff.
So he is basically prototypical Andy Reid.
He is prototypical Andy Reid wide receiver.
Oh, actually, that would be an excellent place because it also takes some heat off of Tyreek as well.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense.
I mean, they are they are a type of short passing. You know, I don't know why I'm saying it's an Andy Reid offense. It's a stereotypical Andy Reid offense with Alex Smith. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a great trade if they could make that happen. Do we think the Dolphins should be looking to ship him?
Yes.
I don't reckon they should. I mean, from what I've heard, he's after a lot of money, but it leaves them very, very thin at that position.
It's a tough one because whilst he's definitely not got the skill set of a true number one, you got to bear in mind this guy has tied. I think it's tied with OBJ for the most catches of all time over your first 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So whilst it might be difficult to pay him, where are you going to find that productivity?
Well, that's true. It's almost, you could almost argue it's priceless productivity. But the thing is, as well, you've got to look at what the state the offense that the Dolphins have is. If you're trading him away, you can get some good value back in draft picks.
I don't think you could, because he's a free agent next year. Teams they'll be hard pressed to get more than a third round, I would think.
Well, maybe it's like almost like the Falcons situation a while back, where they were pressing hard to get into the postseason, and they were literally like trading away the farm. Maybe the Chiefs you can make a case for the Chiefs really wanting to get to that postseason, so they might.
Oh yeah, no, the Chiefs absolutely could. It would be perfectly justified. I think it fills a huge need, and seems like a perfect fit. It's just from my perspective, the Dolphins, if they do that, they're putting an awful lot of faith in Devontae Parker developing.
Well,
yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, you've also got to bear in mind for the Dolphins, they've resurrected Jay Cutler, however long that lasts, and you know the QB situation in Miami is not exactly great. You know, it's kind of. Yeah,
but they're not looking at it that way. They're looking at themselves as a team that could be competing to get into the playoffs again.
So then why bother trading at all?
I think with the Dolphins, I think they're more looking to pay Kenny Stills than they are paying Jarvis Landry right now.
Kenny Stills, it's the team does not have much cap room.
No,
and a large part of that is.
But what I meant is they put his contract before Jarvis's contract because they like Kenny Stills more than they do.
Well, it's one of those things where a lot of teams look at slot receivers, even really good ones, and think, well, they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
We can just go get another one, which is difficult because Landry may be the best one in the entire league.
Yeah.
So I don't think they should look to ship him, but if Parker could show me that he's going to be a true number one, then I understand it.
Yeah.
But until I see that, I move. Not that anything's happened, and nothing may happen.
Just in the rumour mill for now. Another one that I've seen in the rumour mill, I don't know whether he's actually on the trade mill or not, but I know a lot of teams have been interested and acquiring, is TJ Ward, the Denver Broncos safety.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one. I mean, safety plays at a premium, I think, in the league. There's not a lot of good ones. I just don't know what his value would be.
No. But apparently there's been a lot of inquiries about him, and I think given the depth that I think the Denver Broncos are quite happy with the depth they have at safety. So he's not on a huge amount of money, so he's only on $4.5 million. So it's not like he's taking up a lot of cap room.
That's true. They might just be looking at it as they need to get younger in the secondary, because Talib is not going to be around a huge amount longer. They've still got those corners, like Roby and Harris are there for the long term. But it might just be a cap move, to be honest. I just think they can get by with those great corners, the solid pass rush, and it's just free up some cap room. That's how I'd look at it. I mean, anyone knows where so many teams could be interested in.
Yeah, I wouldn't even speculate on what teams he would go to because he could go to a lot.
That's the league.
Oh yeah.
I mean, everyone in the East, other than NFC East, other than the Giants, I think any of the other three teams could do with him. The Redskins and the Cowboys definitely could. You look at the NFC South, the Saints probably wouldn't. Everyone else could probably justify it. It's just not a lot of good safeties right now in this league.
I know.
But I think we've got week 4 of pre-season. Is there anything anyone's going to be paying attention to? Because I know I don't care at this point.
No, I don't think any. Although if we look back, a couple of actually things as week 3 just passed going into week 4.
Oh yeah, we'll do a bit of a review of week 3 if there's anything anyone wants to mention.
Yeah, I mean, just looking back at some of the games I watched, players, a couple of players to look out for is Goodwin, that wide receiver for the Niners. Dude is fast.
Marcus Goodwin.
He's fast.
Oh yeah.
So I reckon he's definitely worth looking out for. He was quite impressive actually in that Vikings game. Speaking of that Vikings game,
he could be in that Taylor Gabriel role that the Falcons had last year.
Definitely. Although speaking of that game as well, Sam Bradford actually looked quite sharp from what I saw in that game for the Vikings.
He's looked okay. My concern actually with the Vikings is just that O-line was a mess last year, and it's looked like a mess this year.
Oh yeah. But continuing on with like more outstanding players, and I don't just like saying this because Arnie's here. Taywan Taylor, that yard after the catch effort.
Oh yeah, Taywan he's looked amazing all pre-season. In camp, out of camp, he's getting nothing but buzz about him. I think he's fighting for the slot role at the moment. Him and Mariota seem to have a really good connection already, which I think you're correct there. Taywan Taylor will probably be our number 2 leading receiver next year. I have no doubt about that.
That one little,
he's quite good.
Yeah, that yard after the catch effort, I was just like, this dude is basically what Anquan Boldin used to do if he keeps this up.
Forget as well that play was 3rd and 31.
What? Seriously?
Yeah, that play was 3rd and 31.
Yeah, that kid's gonna be good.
I've got a couple of running backs, and these are two guys I was high on before the draft and mentioned a lot because a lot of teams needed running backs in the draft, and I knew these guys would go sort of third round later. Both did. Kareem Hunt for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
He's looked really sharp. I think he should be their starter week 1. I think he's been that impressive. Their other guy, Spencer Ware's gone down for the season. And, I was saying this, Ware and Charkandrick West were both, solid. But neither one scared you. They were a good pair. But this guy, I think, gives this team a really, really dangerous runner. And a guy who could maybe be like a mini Brian Westbrook for this offense. I'm going to guess, Dan, you've not watched any of the Chiefs because they're the Chiefs.
No, I've got a selection of the games that I caught up because it's pretty.
But you love Andy Reid so much.
I do. He is. I don't know, man. I mean,
Football Wars.
Yeah, Football Wars is awesome, but Bruce Arians is more my type of offense. Lob it down the field and play D like a lunatic. It's more my type of style. But
my other running back before we move on, Marlon Mack for the Colts.
Yeah.
They're going to have a running back with some speed. Because I love Frank Gore, but the legs have gone a little bit. I think Mack is going to play a really big role. He just keeps on plugging, man. It's just he ain't going away.
Yeah, I mean a couple of other things actually. Two teams I watched. Well, when I was watching the secondary, I was like, oh god. Obviously Titans, but yeah, it's kind of a year-in issue for you guys. The Miami secondary against Philly looked a bit dodgy to me as well. Not sure if it was just me though.
Yeah, they are. They've got question marks there. They've got Rashad Jones is great. Other than that, I question the entire secondary. I mean, their defense beyond the defensive line, I'm pretty concerned about. They look very soft.
Yeah, it's kind of weird actually because both the Titans and Miami's defense are in the exact same boat. They've got a solid front seven. I'd argue Miami's seven's a bit better, but the secondary's just not.
Miami's front four might be as good as any in the league. Like they've got a ton of depth there.
Well, you have Sue and Cameron Wake end discussion basically with that. So obviously there's secondary issues for both those teams, which is a shame because, especially for the Dolphins, considering who's in their division, and the Titans as well, playing some of the pass-happy teams like, say, the Cardinals this year.
You know what doesn't actually get mentioned, and I have noticed this with Carson Wentz? He's got to tone down the dumb decisions. Like people go on about Jameis, and rightfully so for this stuff. Wentz has that same thing to him.
Oh yeah, but Wentz has always made those dumb. You know, it's the NFC East, man. It's like the division you go to if you want decent QBs who just make boneheaded decisions.
Wentz needs to tone it down. I've seen too many head scratching decisions from him, and I think there's a lot of talent there on that. The Eagles have done a great job this offseason. They really have.
He's just trying to make. He's kind of having the same sort of problem as Mariota in his rookie year. Is trying to make a play, and sometimes it's the time for that, and then there's the time to be smart, throw the football away, go to your checkdowns, and it's the same thing with Winston as well. It just seems to be a year one, year two sort of issue.
Some players are just like. I mean, we had Brett Favre doing that in this league for like 20 years. Some players never learn.
This is true.
Yeah, I mean, they concerned me as well. I saw some worrying things. Jay looked great though.
Although actually, going back to the wide receiver standouts, obviously we got Goodwin and Taywan Taylor. We had a John Brown sighting in Arizona fans.
I know you're happy about that
2
one.
touchdowns. It was amazing. So it turns out he's still around. So
they need him to stay healthy. They need him to, otherwise I really do worry about them. But if he's healthy and this O-line can hold up, you never know.
Yeah. Although I did notice actually the pass pressure zone they were getting was actually half decent.
It should be. They were good at rushing the passer last year. That wasn't a problem.
Yeah, but we had Calais Campbell last year, so you can
Yeah,
see my
but you had Golden and Chandler Jones both had good seasons, and Nkemdiche's looked good.
Oh yeah. That's why, as I said, I think the pass pressure is actually there, and it's good. It's okay. This is more of a minor thing for Arizona fans, but it's good to see Stanton still. He's not. I wouldn't say developing, but he's still solid-ish as a backup, which is good. Have it, with Carson Palmer, you never know this year. He's on the wrong side of age. So if he goes down,
If he goes down, this team's done.
oh yeah, no, absolutely. There's only so much Johnson can do. Although with what was it? Where was it? I think it was your guys in Tampa. What was with the protection in that game? Winston was like running for his life. Your O-line, from what I saw.
The Browns went after him pretty hard. They blitzed a lot more than I would have expected, and yeah, Winston didn't take too many hits, didn't get sacked too much. He did a good job with it.
Still threw 2 picks though.
He threw 1.
I thought it was 2. Oh, did one get called?
No, it was just the 1.
He just threw the 1.
Okay.
And also, you do have to bear in mind with that game, Jameis had Deshaun Jackson and Mike Evans sitting out.
Yeah.
So that's a significant factor.
Yeah, it's another reason I hate preseason. I was just like, I was at least expecting those two to start, but no.
The Buccaneers. I'm sure the Buccaneers turned up to the stadium, saw the weather. Like Gerald McCoy didn't play, Quan Alexander didn't play. If you had anything resembling a sore finger, the Buccaneers sat you down in that game.
Yeah.
No, that's fair enough.
They were missing both defensive tackles, middle linebacker, both starting wide receivers.
One day,
Frank Grimes.
One day we're going to go to a 2-game preseason, and the world will be a better place for it.
2's not enough. 3 seems like the right number to me.
Yeah.
Arnie, anyone jumped out to you this preseason?
I like the look of the depth that the Buccaneers have actually got at receiver. I think you guys have got some young guys below sort of Evans and Jackson that look like they're going to become pretty good receivers. Not amazing, but it's a
Chris
good
Godwin has
sort of
apparently
group.
been great for the vast majority of training camp, and he played pretty well on that in the Browns game.
Yeah. Apart from that, I think we've mentioned the majority of the guys that I was going to mention anyway.
I've got breaking news right now. Joe Hayden agrees to deal with Steelers. 27 million.
27 mil.
Yeah.
How many years?
Just bringing it up now.
5 years.
Agreed to a 3-year, 27 million deal with the Steelers. Just breaking just now.
Is the guaranteed money there?
No.
But it's not that detailed.
I'd imagine it'll probably be maybe 5 mil a year guaranteed. So that'd be 5 mil guaranteed, 9 with incentives. Sounds about right.
So basically, I was fairly correct there because I said I genuinely thought he would go to the Steelers.
Well, they went after him hard.
Yeah, they were the first team to get in there. Well, that just makes a good team even better.
If he's healthy, yeah, they do it.
That essentially clinches that division if he stays healthy.
They were already okay at corner because the rookie last year, Artie Burns, he improved as the year went on.
Yeah.
Sean Smith, the safety, Ross Cockrell, they had options. Yeah, that team looks even better. So, yeah, I mean, I struggle to look at the AFC and see anything other than the Pats and the Steelers battling it out for the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
the teams in the AFC West are all good, but they'll beat each other up.
Yeah.
Over the course of the season. So, and the AFC South, it'll just be, whoever kind of falls out. Unless the Texans and Titans are good, it could just that's the kind of division that could have a 9-7 winner.
Same as last year.
So
It's happened a few.
considering you've got to face them this year, Arnie, how are you feeling about this signing? His face.
Yeah, we'll see.
Your arch nemesis Steelers.
I'm never looking forward to a Steeler game. Never.
You look forward to them. They
terrify me. Before it wasn't so bad when we faced the Steelers, but
game, Arnie, was the Steelers and the Titans,
and we lost
yes,
13-10. But
that was the score in the end. Didn't Bronis miss a couple of field goals as well?
yeah, he missed one.
Ah, that was a good kick.
Yeah.
That's one that wasn't it?
Yeah, like the second play from scrimmage. But yeah, I think just with us facing the Titans facing the Steelers this year, we faced the Steelers obviously quite a lot. I think there was a point where we faced them like 5 times on the trot. We haven't faced this strength of a team though.
Oh no.
Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Big Ben, the O-line coached by our old head coach Mike Munchak, and it's a damn good O-line as well. The defense as it is will always be good. I mean, it's just it's a hard team to face. You know?
They look a scary team. Dick LeBeau revenge game. That's what
it is. Ridiculous. Yes, it is.
Speaking of revenge games, I see Kendall Wright was having fun with your secondary.
Oh, right. Words that I can't say on this podcast to describe him. He said a few things to our sideline, put it that way.
Oh dear. Yeah. We commented on this last week. There's a few teams we've not mentioned. So I think what we should do is just go through each of the 32 teams and we'll just very quickly be like, what do we think of them? We'll finish up that way, unless there's anything anyone wants to sort of put out there before we get to that.
No, this sounds good. Quick fire round. Let's do it.
Yeah,
just
quick fire round. 10 different and a quick reason why.
Before we do this, you said about the what we're looking for in the week 4 of the preseason. Now, obviously, as you know, most people will not look for anything, given the fact that it tends to be second and third stringers.
Yeah.
For us, unfortunately, it's another painful week of hoping my starters don't get injured because the Tennessee Titans have decided to, at least for 2 drives, start all of our starters. This might be the first week we start Corey Davis. Very doubtful. We'll probably wait till week 1 to start him. He looks very hopeful to start week 1. But Eric Decker should be there.
I don't think he starts. I think he sees some snaps. But I don't think they put him out there as a starting wide receiver with next to no camp.
Well, going from the press conference that Malarkey had, he is looking likely to start week 1. Is what he said. So whether he does or not, we're
very surprised. That would be a bold move.
But yeah, the only thing I'm looking to have is go out, 1 drive, touchdown, get off the field, no injuries, done. Happy. I'll be happy. Get some momentum going into week 1, fine. But no injuries. None. If we get an injury, I want Mark Malarkey gone just because someone got injured.
I'm looking for the Buccaneers kicker to kick and make it. That's it. And yes. I say looking. I'm not going to watch the game. I will check it the next day because
check the stats.
Yeah. So, I'm a firm believer in watching all of the games, but week 4 of the preseason, no.
I normally don't.
I'm ready for the real thing at this point, and frankly, I've got better things to do with my life.
In my case, I have to watch at least 5 minutes, at least.
Fair news, right? Well, anything else anyone wants to bring up?
Nope.
That's it.
Go straight to quick fire.
Quick fire round. All right, we'll start with. We'll go with the NFC North. Packers. Same old.
Same old.
Yep. Same old. They'll pull it out towards the end of the year and scrape.
Aaron Rodgers. That's all you need to say.
Offense will be great if the defense can, sort it out.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
And defense gets it together. They're a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
The Lions.
Same old. I would have to say they haven't made a great deal of improvements.
Middling team to me. They got got lucky in a lot of close games last year. They've got issues all over the defence. The offence isn't particularly explosive.
No.
And they got a couple of significant injuries, so I think they're a middling kind of team.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say the two words I'm probably going to repeat a couple of times during this round. Raging mediocrity.
Fair enough. The Bears.
I think that says it all, really.
Yeah, they've got promise. They're a promising team for the future, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be a good team this year. I think defensively they'll be sound. The offense will be a bit of a mess. But I think they're the kind of team that could finish the season pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean they've got quite an underrated offensive line as well. So
the interior is really good. Cody Whitehair's played really well in his young career. People tend not to mention that. Carl Long and Josh Sitton are both good guards. So with them and Jordan Howard, if that team's going to be good, it will be based off of those four. But I don't see too much from the Bears this year. Yeah, a low end kind of 6-10 team.
Yeah.
You can use your two words again here, Quinch, or Dan.
I think mediocrity is too generous.
Fair enough. The Vikings.
Great defense, questions on offense.
If the O-line's good, they're a contender in the NFC. If the O-line looks like it did last year, they're going to be mediocre.
Yeah.
And I see that happening. I think that 9-7, that kind of range, top defense, offense just sabotaging itself.
Yeah.
A lot of talent though. It's a really good roster.
It is. They haven't got anything on receivers.
Yeah, there's Vikings like these 2 years. It'll be a case of can't block, can't win.
Yeah. They won't be in a lot of high-scoring games. The defense will keep them in games, much like the Broncos.
They're like a baby Seahawks.
Yeah.
Raging
Dan?
mediocrity again, except the defense will keep them in. If they get injured again, it will go from raging mediocrity to raging awfulness.
Fair enough. We'll go to the NFC East, the most unpredictable division in football. The Cowboys.
Can I say criminals?
The remains of the Cowboys.
Secondary, they've got nothing there. Offense, great O-line. Quarterback, receivers are fairly good. So, I mean, running back, we don't know until Zeke comes back. So, they're definitely a contender for the division.
I think this is.
Everyone's a contender for this division.
I think this is going to be a prove it year. The O-line's good, but it's not as good as it was from last year.
No, a couple of
And
changes.
they don't have Zeke for the first 6 games. 6 games.
For now,
At the moment.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. I think if the suspension gets cut down, they'll be able to compete for either the division or a wildcard spot. If it's 6 games, I think that's too much, and this team is too limited defensively, and I think they'll have to change what they do offensively enough that they'll miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
If it gets cut down to maybe 3 games, I think they might. I still don't think they're favourites in this division. I think the Eagles, in fact, we'll talk about them in a bit. I don't think this team makes the playoffs this year. I think they have a bit of a down season.
No, I think the first 6 games are going to be a prove it for Dak Prescott, and if they can't do anything, if they drop games in the first 6 games, that's it, they're done.
Tough schedule for this team as well this year. Very tough. Move on to the Giants.
I think they are the division winners.
I disagree because the NFL season doesn't solely take place in December.
That defense is so good.
The defense is good. We all know about Eli, but I mean, they've got depth at receiver.
They remind me a lot of the Vikings, but they're a bit more explosive on offense.
Yeah.
Because they've got the same problems. The O-line is non-existent. the run game has been. I mean, when was the last time the Giants had a run game?
I don't remember having the Giants having a running game.
Super Bowl.
So that says a lot.
That was a while ago now.
Oh yes.
I think this defense will be good enough. I think they'll be a contender. I don't think they'll be good enough to do great in the playoffs because I just think that's where their offensive line will show them up. But they'll be competing for a playoff spot, possibly the division.
Well, it just depends what Eli turns up this year, I think.
It depends if Eli is spending all year picking himself up off the grass. That's the biggest problem, I think. The Eagles.
They've had a great off-season. Potential dark horse team. I think they still need one more year before they're pushing for off-season, post-season.
I agree with a lot of that. They're a potential dark horse if Wentz really makes a jump. The pieces are there around him. The offensive line's great. The defensive line's awesome. I think they're going to be one of the most disruptive groups in the league. I just think there's a lot of new pieces. Wentz still has some issues. I think they compete with the Giants for the division and a wild card spot. But I think they're a year away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with all of it except the dark horse team part. I think they're established enough to be good. I reckon they can make a push and challenge, push the Giants out for that playoff spot.
And the Redskins.
This one it's all going to come down to Kirk Cousins and how without the offensive coordinator being there. Yeah. See,
that plays into what I think is the true dark horse team, which is the Redskins this year.
Yeah, you're a big believer in Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, this is inexplicable. I don't know why.
It really is. He's definitely not your typical type of quarterback.
No, he's not. But I believe in him, and I don't know why. It's also because he's really nice and charming on the sidelines, but that's not the point.
He's a goof.
Yeah, he's awesome. I don't know why. I like Kirk Cousins. I think I remember saying as we went into the off season, I would happily trade for him.
That's fair enough. So they're your dark horse, huh? It's bold.
Well,
they're a tough one because they've got talent at a lot of spots. Like Josh Norman's great. I love Jonathan Allen, who they drafted. Ryan Kerrigan's a stud. The O-line is great. No one talks about this O-line. They're awesome.
Well, they put a lot of work into that O-line through the draft and free agent over the last few years.
Bear in mind, obviously Trent Williams is arguably the best tackle in the league right now. Certainly top 3.
Yeah.
Then you've got Brandon Scherf, who's a borderline Pro Bowl guard. Bear in mind, they picked him in the top 10 to play right tackle. But the guy they've got at right tackle is so good, they just put him in at guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that O-line's really good. For me, the receiving group has been... It's looked iffy in pre-season. Cousins has been streaky. He's either on or he's not. If the receivers and him can gel and he can iron out some of those flaws, I think they can make it. I don't think that happens. I think they just miss out and end up a middling kind.
Yeah.
I will hold you to that dark horse one, Dan.
Oh yeah, please do, as I said.
I didn't expect you to go bold on that one. I thought we'd all be in agreement on it'll be alright. The NFC South. So we'll start with the Falcons.
Should pick off where they not where they ended last year, but should pick off from this sort of season they had. They haven't made a huge amount of changes. The pass rush will be there for the team. You've got to expect the run game.
I don't think I've ever seen two teams compete in the Super Bowl and then come back with rosters with so little change.
Yeah.
So more of the same.
More of the same.
Yeah, more of the same for me as well. Just the Falcons are going to do Falcon things.
Similar. I think they're certainly one of the contenders in the NFC. I think them and the Bucks battle it out for the division. I think it'll be tough because I think the schedule for the NFC South isn't the best, and it's a pretty tough division. So I think both those teams will struggle to get a home field. So I think Seahawks will just walk that division, and spoiler alert. And I think Packers will probably do Packers things and get it. So I think they're going to beat each other up. I think they probably start the season a little slow, and whilst I think they'll end up making it, I think people will grow concerned because, typical Super Bowl hangover thing. Losing Kyle Shanahan. Because bear in mind, this is the one thing I've always said with Ryan last year. Last year was not the norm. It was the exception. Ryan had been incredibly consistent over his career. But we know who he is. Last year, that's not Matt Ryan unless he shows me it again.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing, their offensive line stayed healthy all year. I don't know if that happens again, so I think there'll be a bit of a drop-off, but they'll still be really good, and I still think they'll make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Sneaky good defence as well. We'll go with the Panthers.
I think this will be a redemption year for them.
I hope not.
I think Cam Newton will come back strong. Yeah, he's still dealing with the injury, but he will come back strong. That defense is still as advertised.
They struggled last year. Defense.
I mean, you can trust their linebackers enough. I would suspect. But yeah, I think that offense, I think, is going to be a lot more explosive this year.
I don't even need to ask why. We all know why. Dan, Panthers.
As odd as it sounds, I'm actually going to go with raging mediocrity for the Panthers. I can't see it.
Yeah, I agree. They've got, for me, the issues they have are coverage isn't great. It improved as the season went on with their young corners, but they've got no pass rush other than Kawan Shaw. And when I think of them a couple of years ago, when they went 15-1, made the Super Bowl, the pass rush was great. They were getting after guys, and I'm not sure 30-million-year-old Julius Peppers and Charles Johnson, who's just not the same player these days, are going to be able to get that done. And I think offensively, their O-line is still trash. I am never, ever, a team that spends $55 million on Matt Khalil as their left tackle, I am never picking that team to go to the playoffs.
No.
Because that's one of the dumbest damn football decisions I've ever witnessed in my entire life. Their O-line, until they sort that O-line out, I think the offense will be a lot better. But yeah, I think they're a middle of the road team. So you think playoff contender, Arnie?
No, I never said playoffs. I just said redemption.
An 8 is a redemption story.
Well, I think they will have a winning record, but I see them missing out on playoffs.
Fair enough. The Saints.
I'd say middling team, but it all comes down to Breeze. The Saints are quite hard to. Yeah, the Saints are quite hard to judge. They're always hard to judge.
Yeah, just call it New Orleans Breeze. Just get a big picture of his birthmark on the side of the helmet or something.
They're always going to be a risk with Drew Brees at the helm. I really like their rushing attack as well.
Oh yeah, Alvin Kamara, man.
Oh yeah.
Everyone who's been speaking the last few months knows how high I am on that kid.
Oh yeah. But I'd say middle of the road team there.
I think they show some promise this year, but I think the defence is still going to hold them back, and they'll end up 6-10 kind of team. I think they'll take a while. My concern with them is the offensive line, missing Teron Armstead, one of the better left tackles in the league, and missing Max Unger for the first month or so, and Armstead until about November. I think that will hurt them a lot. And defensively, until you show me otherwise, you're garbage.
Yeah.
Dan?
Well, pretty much the consensus here. I think they're going to be extremely middle of the road. They can't be raging mediocrity while they've still got G's, so that's always a good sign. I mean, I think the most the Saints are going to do this year is, by virtue of just the Spike U convoy, they're somehow going to like cost the Bucks a playoff spot this year by beating.
We split with the Saints most years. That's kind of how it goes.
That's going to be their only achievement this year. They're going to beat the Bucks in one crucial game, and you won't make the playoffs. That basically they're just the Saints exist to spite you. Basically, is what I'm saying.
And the Panthers are my arch nemesis. They really are. And with that, we'll move on to my beloved Bucks. Yeah, I'll let you guys go first on this one.
Wildcard, definite wildcard team there. I can't see you guys winning the division with the Falcons in there, but definite wildcard team, definitely postseason bound. All the pieces are there for postseason ready.
Ben, did you?
I
think they just fall short?
I actually think they're gonna fall short because you guys have got a fairly tough schedule and a fairly tough division on paper, and I think there's a couple of teams in the league that will beat you to a wildcard spot this year in the NFC anyway. So I reckon you're just gonna fall short.
I think the Bucks make it in this year. I think they end the 10-year drought. And that's simply last year, they really struggled early. I think this year, the thing that will surprise people, and the reason I think they'll make it, I think they have the best defence in the division.
Yeah.
And the offence, while I have concerns with the O-line, they're going to still be dangerous. Those receivers are going to make some plays. And yeah, this defence played great down the stretch. I don't know how much of the Buccaneers you guys watched, but the second half of the season, they were really good.
Yeah, they were really good.
Adding Chris Baker and getting healthy there, I think they'll be competing with the Falcons for the division. I can see either one of them taking it. I think the margin's going to be slim. But I just look at this one that was last year with the additions they've made. I mean, last year they won 9 games with the offense basically being Jameis Winston to Mike Evans with the odd Cameron Brate touchdown.
Yeah, and I think, as I said earlier, with the depth, I think you guys have got a receiver.
They'll hopefully have a kicker.
Yeah, and I think Doug Martin will have a pretty good year.
He's hoping. Who knows?
He's looked really good in camp, so
he is all pro or bust. We'll move on to the NFC West, and we'll start with the Seahawks. Just get a nice, simple one out of the way.
They win the division.
Yeah,
same team.
Are what we picked. They win the division comfortably. The defense is great. The O-line's a steaming pile of dung and might hold them back in the postseason.
Yeah.
I want you to bear in mind, I am totally not biased, but boo.
Is that all you have on this? Boo.
Boo, I say. Boo to the Seahawks.
Okay, then on to the next one.
Sound commentary there. So we'll move on to the Rams.
Another sort of, I think, dark horse-ish team for me. Dark horse-ish. Not quite, but ish.
I mean, dark horse. You only get one choice. Eagles or Rams, boy. Choose.
You can have one dark horse.
Yeah, but I just like what they're doing in LA. I really like
still not being there.
Apart from that, yeah, but I really like Sean McVay as a head coach. I really like that signing. I think Jared Goff will have a really good year this year. I think he will cut down on the mistakes, and I love Cooper Kupp. So
he's been great. We didn't mention him earlier. He's been good.
Yeah, it's been great.
Lions receivers look really good as well. Kenny Galladay, but yeah, enough about that. We missed our chance. The Rams.
I'm gonna say, to coin a phrase as it applies to the NFL, cannon fodder. And this will be uttered again with this division. The Rams are cannon fodder. this year. That's all they are. They just exist to give teams a W.
It all depends on Goff. I think if Goff can become an actual NFL player, because he sure as hell wasn't one last year, then 8-8 becomes possible, because that defense is still damn good, and the receiver group now with Sammy Watkins there actually also look quite good. But that is the if. If not, they're a tire fire. If it's the same Jared Goff or only a subtle improvement on that, then they're competing for the number one pick. That he was that bad.
Yeah.
We'll go with the Niners now.
Oh, there's not much to say.
Cannon fodder. They're just cannon fodder.
I think they've improved slightly from last year, but
it was so bad. Oh my goodness.
I'll go for a 4-win team here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think I had 4 or 5 in the season preview. I think the defence will really get going eventually. There's a lot of young talent there, but I think it might take some time.
Wait.
The offense, I look at this like, where are you getting points from? They traded away Vance McDonald as well, so what they're going to throw to Pierre Garçon every down with the odd qualified run sprinkled in.
Wait, hold on. I'm confused. 4 wins. They only faced the Rams twice.
No, the Rams will beat them twice.
Paper looks, their defense might steal them a couple of wins. I like, the talent on that D-line should come together. Reuben Foster, we all know I love Reuben Foster. They're going to be a top 5 pick, I think. And we'll see if Kirk Cousins turns up next year.
And don't forget, they faced the Cardinals twice as well.
I swear to God, boy.
Speaking of the Cardinals, we'll move on to them.
Mediocrity.
Never. And I'm totally not biased.
Too many question marks for me.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a team that could go any direction, but I think they end up being fairly middling. Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to ride into the playoffs on the back of David Johnson. To give a less silly answer, I 100% agree the Cardinals can go either way. This is the problem we've currently got. Is in theory, we've got the pieces, but theory is a fickle thing.
There's just so many question marks.
Too many. I mean,
and there's the risk of the wheels falling off David Johnson if you ride him too much.
Yeah, for me, the question is you've got the entire interior of the defence, the receiver position, the offensive line, the rest of the secondary beyond Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu. That's a lot.
Basically, the Cardinal season falls down to Bruce Arians cracking the whip. That's basically all it is. If he can get them to play, they'll play damn well, which the Cardinals have proven in the past.
It's just that there's a lot of young players going to be in big spots this year. It could go either way. It really could.
But yeah, that's basically it. I think we're basically going to be riding high on David Johnson, and if other people step up that aren't named Fitzgerald.
Can we all agree if David Johnson gets hurt, this team is done?
Yeah.
David Johnson gets hurt, I'm pretty sure I'm done.
Out.
Yeah, I mean, David Johnson, say like David Johnson and Fitzgerald gets injured somehow this year. You might as well just burn the stadium to the ground and move it back to St. Louis.
Fair enough. We'll move on to the AFC now. We'll start with the North once again, and we'll go with the Steelers.
They're a fly past the division. I said my bit on them.
Yeah, we've already basically spoken about this. They're going to run away in the division. I will not be surprised if they run away in the playoffs as well, depending on how the Pats hold up.
It's down to how Roethlisberger holds up, because he looked a shadow of himself at the end of last year. If his arm holds up for playoff time, they're scary. They're really good. The Ravens.
Defense is okay. A lot of question marks everywhere else.
Love their secondary. I wonder if they're going to be able to field a legitimate team by the end of the season, the way they're dropping.
Yeah.
Offense, looks like a steaming mess. So I think they're going to be bad this year. I mean, like 4 or 5 wins bad. For the first time, who knows how long. But
I think they're going to be threatening the coach's job bad this year, to be honest.
They just signed on to an extension.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, 1 year extension.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
So basically, no matter how they perform, he's still good. No, but the Ravens are going to be terrible. Mark chagrin of one of the people we know, but yeah, they're going to be absolute rubbish this year. They just are. Unfortunately, they're what I would, in my mind, like one of the legacy teams, like consistently good. Yeah, they keep a certain consistency and quality.
6 of 10
yeah,
they've been consistently.
Yeah.
The Bengals.
Raging mediocrity.
Yeah. I think it all depends on their offense.
I think they'll struggle and they'll come along toward the end of the year. I think they're the AFC equivalent of the Cardinals, where you can see the talent at these spots, but there's so many question marks.
What a coincidence, considering who our QB is. That's a coincidence, you think, that, considering who's QBing for us?
Well, no, but my point would be, first off, they look loaded at running back. Joe Mixon's look great. I mean, he is great. He's a great player. Bernard and Hill. That's a really good trio. If John Ross can come out quickly, AJ Green's great. Tyler Eifert can stay healthy. He's great. The offense could be really explosive, but the O-line is a giant question mark. Defensively, the pass rush is a giant question mark. The secondary is perfect, might be suspended. I think they end up pretty bad, like 6-7 win kind of team. I think they start the season really poorly and they figure it out as it goes along.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the Browns.
They've had a great off season, but again, they're still a while away.
They're still a
Four wins. I think 4 wins. They still have talent on that roster.
I think 6 wins would feel like making the playoffs for them.
Oh, you mean like when they?
I think 2 wins.
You mean like
will.
when they beat the Chargers last year? It was like they won the bloody Super Bowl. Oh my god.
Yeah. I think 6 wins would feel good. I think defensively they'll surprise some teams and look. They will look good by the end of the year there. But the offense, I love the line, but there's just the weapons are not good enough. And the rookie.
Yeah, I want the Browns to prove me wrong because poor Cleveland, but the Browns are going to Browns. I want them to prove me wrong.
Browns going to Browns. They're at least another year away.
Yeah, unless they truly Browns it up, then they're like another 2 years away.
Well, you never know. They are the Browns. The AFC East, so we'll get a nice easy one out of the way. Patriots going to Patriot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we going to have a 3-peat?
It's possible.
I mean,
you can't rule it.
I mean,
they're a good
I don't
team.
know what they've really got, bar obviously winning. I don't know what they've got to gain from it. They've obviously got the greatest of all time in both the QB and the coach, and they are the greatest dynasty of all time. Steelers fans, don't shoot me. So.
I think the line, the line on both sides of the ball is the one concern. But at the end of the day, they make the playoffs. They battle it out with the Steelers for the number 1 seeds. We'll see how that goes.
Actually, I don't know what you think about this. As far as I'm concerned, in that AFC division game, the title game, Steelers Pats, I'm calling this now. If that's how it ends up in the postseason, whoever wins the AFC game is going to win the Super Bowl. End of. Because I don't see any team in the NFC that can compete with either of those two at this point.
I don't know. On paper, the Falcons look pretty good. The NFC teams, they'd need to keep it together. Defensively, some of the teams in the AFC might be good enough, but we'll see. They'd be the favourites for sure, though. Those 2 teams got to be. The Dolphins.
I think they have a winning record season. I think Jay Cutler will surprise a few people.
I got about 8. Schedule's rough. Schedule's rough of injuries.
When I say winning season, I say 9-7. I think Ajayi will keep him in a lot of games. It's kind of the same kind of thing with the Dolphins in a way. I think the receivers look a bit better than the Cardinals, but
Stop.
The receiving group looks good.
Stop bringing this back to the bloody Cardinals, man. You're just trolling me. I think with the Dolphins, you've got two things. It's going to go two ways. I think this is going to sound weird. I think the Dolphins, if Cutler doesn't do what Jay Cutler does and actually plays well, I reckon they're actually going to be quite a dominant team. Or the opposite's going to happen and they're going to be awful.
You're thinking wild card or
I'm thinking.
total?
I would love to say, if it was any other division they were in, I would say the Dolphins would win that division. But at this point, because the Pats are in that division, obviously that's not going to happen. I think they're a solid wild card. I think they've got the potential to really,
same as last year.
but like a proper potential. I mean, last year they had a load of issues happen. I reckon they've
had those happen already this year.
I reckon they're one of the true dark horse teams of the AFC. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people if Cutler holds up.
Fair enough. We'll move on to. We'll do the Bills and Jets at the same time because it's the same. They're both tanking for the number 1 pick or a very high pick.
Well, I think the Bills might get 2 wins and the Jets might get none.
Well, to be fair, I rip on the Bills. If LaShawn McCoy's still there, they'll still be okay-ish on offense. They can still run the ball.
Yeah.
With Tyrod Taylor there, they can really run the ball. They've still got a great front four, but they're going to be. I thought they were a wild card, like dark horse before all these trades. Now I just think they're a 6-10 team, which is like the most Buffalo thing in the world.
Yeah, but I can't see. I can't see the Jets winning the game.
Yeah, the Jets they'll win. 2 games is their ceiling for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon they're both doing what the Colts did a couple of years ago, where they're sucking for the first pick when the Colts sucked for luck. But
the Colts didn't mean to. It just turned out. Without Peyton Manning, they were that bad.
But, that's beside the point. Both teams are horrendous.
Oh yeah,
the Bills.
The Jets are the most flagrant case I've ever seen of a team just being like, nope.
Yeah, they're just. I think they're just going to go into full proper rebuild mode. I will not be surprised.
They already are. Both of these teams are.
Honest with you, I won't be surprised if after all the games are finished at the end of pre-season, I would not be surprised if just before kickoff they trade LaShawn. I would not be surprised. I reckon they're secretly shipping around for it at the moment. They just haven't said anything. I would not be surprised.
Possible. And yeah, we all agree Jets are going to be the worst. So that's a simple one. We'll move on to the AFC South. We'll start with the Texans.
Well, it's between them and the Titans for the division, let's face it. It's all on their defense. They've lost too many weapons on the receivers. The O-line's not too bad.
The O-line's struggled so far, but Dwayne Brown's not turned up.
Yeah, with him there, it's not too bad. But again, issues at quarterback depends on if they put in Watson at any point in the year, if he does get good, if Savage can hold him in games. But their defense is going to keep them in games.
Yeah. With
Clowney and JJ Watt, it's just rough.
Merciless.
Oh yeah.
I'm just going to echo what Arnie says here. I think they're going to be kept in the game solely by that D and achieve nothing except maybe beat the Titans once for giggles.
They could be competing for a wild card or the division. I think
I don't think
the floor is low on this team. Like, that defense will win them enough games, and there's still enough talent on the offense to win a few. 7-9 is kind of the floor. I think they go either 9-7 or 10-6.
I think one of the wildcard spots in the AFC will come from this division.
I think the North, you've got the problem with the Bengals are going to be competing. You've also got the Dolphins. We haven't even touched the West yet. You've got 4 teams.
Yeah, the West is
4 teams
the West is great.
Legitimately, 3 of them could legitimately make the playoffs. You could have 3 teams.
All four of them you could make an argument.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think competing for a spot in the playoffs, they might get there. It depends on the other teams in the division. They're not going to be overwhelming, but their defense will be a top 5 group.
Oh yeah, that's a given. But as a pure team effort, no.
Alright, so we'll move on to the Jags. As long as Blake Bortles starts, this team is trash and they win between 3 and 5 games. Done. Defence will be pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree on that. The defence has potential to again be a top 10 defensive unit this year.
Yeah, they'll roll Arnie by beating the Titans once, and yeah, that's about it.
As is the way it works, yeah. So we're all in agreement. They're poo. The other team, the Colts. Oh god, the Colts.
Without Andrew Luck, they tank.
Yeah. We're looking at winless until Luck comes back.
I still even think if Andrew Luck is there and healthy week 1, I still think they go 6-10. I don't think there's enough talent on that roster.
I think Luck's good enough that they're like an 8-8 team if he has a good year.
Luck is good enough, but the problem is since they've drafted him, the talent on that team's been hemorrhaging. There's just no one.
Well, I mean, the thing for me, defensively, they've basically got an entirely new defence this year. I think they've got like 2 guys returning. I don't know if I've ever seen that level of turnover before. They've got injury problems on the O-line, which wasn't great to begin with, but their 2 best O-linemen are hurt. Luck's currently hurt. I mean, I think we're looking at like a 3-13, 4-12 kind of season. I think there's a possibility if they're like 0-6 or 0-7, if this Luck situation lingers, they just shut him down for the year.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, really, because Luck's got the Peyton effect with me. I hate facing the guy, but I love watching him play. I really do.
Yeah, he's a gunslinger, man. And we'll finish up with the Titans.
I might as well let you guys get first.
Alright. I think the Titans are my favourites for this division, just because I think the offense might be a bit of a slow burner. I think early in the year, there's a lot of new pieces. Teams are going to have a better idea how to deal with their run game because they've got a year's worth of tape. So I think it'll be a bit of a slow start, but I think they'll get it together. The rest of the division's pretty soft. And defensively, Dick LeBeau's creative enough and they've got the pass rush to get it done. I think they'll sneak into the playoffs probably as the division winner or compete for a wild card, finish like 10-6, maybe 11-5. I had them at 11-5 in my season previews because the schedule is really soft.
Well, I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but I actually think the Titans are going to be an offensive powerhouse. Not defensive side of the ball, they're really dodgy. Offensively, I think the Titans are going to be a powerhouse this year.
I think maybe the second half of the season. I just think with all these new receivers...
Well, yeah.
It's going to take time.
For game 1 or 2, you might, the first 3 games or so, it might be in a ramp up. But after seeing the tape on Tawan Taylor, obviously you got Eric Decker, you've obviously got Delaney Walker, and
Corey Davis,
and DeMarco Murray. I honestly think they're going to be like offensively top 5 this year. Because I think they're just going to surprise everyone with how offensively dominant they're going to be.
I don't think they're that kind of offense. They'll run the ball too much to finish top 5 statistically.
And I agree with that. I mean, I think considering last year we were the number 1 pass rush team in the league. We finished first in pass rush last year, and I think that's Dick LeBeau. I think that will continue into this year, and I think that's where we're going to...
You've got 3 legitimate rushers.
Yeah. That's where our secondary won't look as bad as it is that side of the ball will help us there. I think we're looking at a 10-6 team. Possibly 11-6 if Andrew Luck's out the whole year. 11-5 even. But I think the offense is going to be good. I think the run game is going to be slowed down a bit this year. The pass game's going to go up this year. But
figured it out a little bit what they were doing, and
I think to get the true test of the Titans this year, you've got 2 key games as far as I'm concerned for the test of the worthiness of the team. Week 1 with the Raiders, because Raiders good, and the Steelers game. If you can keep keep that
Steelers game
close,
big one.
if you can keep that Steelers game close or win, I reckon you're sure to win the division.
If this team's going well, the Steelers game will feel like the measuring stick of where they are.
Definitely.
Yeah. The key for the Titans this year is winning in the division. That is the key for us. That's where we didn't. We went 9-7 last year, tied with the Texans' record. The reason we didn't make the playoffs is because of division wins.
Yeah,
but I think this is the year again. We do make the playoffs. It'll be wild card who'll win the division. Then.
Fair enough. We'll move on to the best division in the NFL. I think we can all agree.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You're not going to get me arguing that.
Yeah. Good. So we'll start with the Broncos.
Oh, the Broncos are a difficult one.
They are. I think they'll be good.
Yeah,
I think they'll be 8-8, 9-7. Defensively, awesome once again.
It's the offense.
Yeah.
But offense, I think, is too limited. The O-line's not going to be good enough. The run game, I don't think, will be good enough. And I think that'll hold them back. They'll be what they were last year.
I think they're just going to miss out on the playoffs again. Same as last year.
Yeah.
It's a shame, because that defence is great.
Oh, yeah.
Have we ever seen a better secondary? I know it sounds crazy because you got the Seahawks one. Which secondary would you rather have?
Broncos.
I'm slightly biased because I thought the Cardinals secondary when we had Antonio Cromartie was really good.
You'd rather have that than the Seahawks or the Broncos right now?
I wouldn't like the Seahawks, they're not my type of scheme. The Broncos right now are probably definitely up there though.
In terms of the corner group, it's definitely the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Holy heck.
Corner pairings go, yeah, that's the best pairing of corners I've ever seen.
No, it's free though. Bradley Roby, their third corner's really good.
Yeah, true. No, I think they've definitely got the most dominant secondary in the league right now. And for the past
also,
couple of years.
The best pass rusher.
Yeah.
Yes, they have good old Von Miller. Scary dude.
Yeah, he's very good at the football. We'll head to Kansas City next.
I think Kansas are going to be damn good next year.
I'll say this is going to be interesting because I want to know where you think these guys are going to end up in the division.
I think they win the division.
Yeah, their defense is scary good. Yeah. Alex Smith does not.
Full power.
We all know Alex Smith does not make stupid mistakes. He will play safe football. They're going to win a hell of a lot of games, and they're going to be a great team.
Their defence was great, and it got better. Benny Logan is an improvement over Poe.
Yeah.
Benny Logan's awesome. They've got them a big fat nose tackle now. They've got themselves a linebacker that can play alongside Johnson. The pass, D Ford, Tambahali, Justin Houston.
Yeah.
And then you got Marcus Peters and Eric Berry. Defensively, that'd be great. The offense, I'd like to see him get another weapon for a trade. Jarvis Landry, like we talked about, that would put them over the top for me because Kelsey's their number one receiver.
Yeah.
But ain't no problems. Tyreek Hill's listed as the number one. Kelsey's their number one receiver, and he's a beast. And Hill's a game breaker. They got great coaching. I think they win the division.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I actually didn't think. I thought you guys would go Raiders to win the division. Now I've got Chiefs winning the division, and I think the Chiefs are probably going to be the only team that could actually reliably challenge the Steelers and the Pats in the offseason.
Yeah, they're my AFC dark horse.
Yeah.
I think they're really good. I think week one, next week, Chiefs Patriots. I'm looking way more forward to that game than most people. I think
that's going to be an excellent game.
It's going to be a damn good game.
It's going to be a really good game. It's my kind of game as well. It's going to be defensive and ugly. It's going to be great. We'll move on to also just the most love Kansas City probably ever got from a non-Kansas City-based podcast.
Isn't it also a revenge game for Andy Reid from those years ago with the Eagles in the Super Bowl?
I guess, yeah. In a way, yeah in a way. We'll go with the Chargers next.
I just feel bad for this team. I mean...
Once again, them and the Ravens.
I just feel bad for them.
The football gods.
I mean, they still got Keenan Allen for now. So
for now, that might be the key word.
They've got Keenan Allen for now. They've got Phillip Rivers. Again, I'm just going to have to keep saying for now after every player. And they've got Joey Bosa for now. So
Melvin Ingram.
Yeah, For now.
Gordon. There's a lot of talent.
For now.
Well, I've always made my opinion clear with the Chargers. I've never been on the Chargers bandwagon. I've never seen what other people see in them. I don't think they're.
I said in season preview, this team is really talented, but it lacks depth. If there's injuries, then they're not going to be that great. Then all the injuries happened, and now I'm off the bandwagon. But I had my cavat before they happened, so I'm fine.
I think now they're middling now.
Yeah, I like this team. I just think we'll see the same issues we've seen in the last few seasons. The offense will struggle because of bad line play. Defensively, they'll be pretty good. I'm looking forward to watching Joey Bosa some more. He was really cool last year.
Yeah.
Dan, what do you think? I got these guys as a middling team, by the way.
Yeah, no, I've got them as even without the injuries, I've always had them as a middling team. I've never been on the Chargers bandwagon. I've always thought of them as a middling team anyway. So I'm not expecting much from them this year.
Fair enough. And the Raiders, one of the trendy picks of this season.
Is it really a trendy pick though, considering how long they sucked for?
Yeah,
people are all over this team.
Yeah, people are
talking Super Bowl.
It's weird though, considering it must have been.
I wouldn't go that far.
Even what? Maybe 2 seasons ago?
2 years ago, trash.
2 years ago, we used to joke that, maybe this year will be the year for the Raiders. You never know. And now look at them. They're one of the most dominant offensive teams and defensive teams all around.
Defensively, they're okay. That's the big issue, and it's why I can't back this team in the way I can. I think they they get a wild card spot. I think it's just behind the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think that division's going to be decided by the Raiders Chiefs games this year. Whoever wins out will win. But
same as last year.
The offense will be great. I mean, the O line is as good as there is in the league. Carr played really well last year. Cooper should only be better. Like with Lynch there, the backfield's dynamic and there's depth there. The defense is just a bit lacking because they've got good pass rush. I'll worry about everything else.
So the Titans, basically.
Khalil Mack's really good.
Yeah, it's the same issue that it's actually quite a few teams have got that problem though. Pass rush is pretty good. The rest of the defense is dodgy. But no, they're shooing for at minimum wild card. I don't see them. I see them.
I'd say wild card challenge for the division.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Double-digit win numbers, regardless.
Yeah, 10-11 win team.
Yeah,
and that's with a tough schedule. Like when I say I think the Chiefs and the Raiders will win 10 games, like that's a testament. Their schedule is hard. But yeah, and that wraps it up. So I think we'll call it a day there. That was a mighty slog, but I think it was well worth doing that roundup. Now no one can accuse us of not talking about everyone.
Yeah, it's not like we have Cardinals, Buccaneers, and Titans bias on this podcast. No, not at all.
Yeah. No. I like to think I leave my bias out.
Yeah.
I don't think my opinions on the Bucs are that egregious at this point. I think they're pretty standard. But anyway, we'll ignore that. We'll carry on with this next week. Who knows when, and we'll be doing it. But we'll be getting ready for week 1. So it might be our first season game previews episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. It'll be good to get back to football. It's just, as the pre-season drags on, it's so hard to stay infused when you're watching what amounts to less than college teams playing.
Oh, they're better than college teams.
Oh, I don't know.
There's some bad college teams. But yeah, so we'll be back next week. Thanks to all you guys for checking this out. I know this one's been a long one, but I hope for yourselves it's been worth it. I'm sure we all enjoyed this one, especially the little roundup at the end. It was good. Now we know where we stand on every team. So there's no backing out now. We got it all on film. We're accountable now. I mean, I already was because I've already done my entire season preview series, but now you're in the bandwagon with me. So we'll see who's right and who's wrong. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. as always, like, share, subscribe, check out the Patreon, all that good stuff. Be greatly appreciated. Check out some more of the episodes. As I say, done my entire season preview series on the channel. There'll be a bunch of stuff coming up. I've got some good plans for the next week. So hopefully you check those out. And as always, been a pleasure. Have a good evening. Go Bucks.